I wanted to hop on and share a video with you today about powerlessness. I was running a session yesterday with a group from the NHS, and one of the very understandable and reasonable objections that came up, we were talking about compassionate leadership, was, I'm powerless. I've tried to change things. I push so hard, but nothing changes. And it's not going to change. Things are just not going to get better. And I heard that objection, and I really want to talk to you about powerlessness and how to change that mindset. So the first thing is, obviously, I talk about compassionate leadership and self-compassion. And the first step to compassionate leadership is self-awareness. So, when I hear that objection, the first thing I want to bring in is notice your state. Notice how you're feeling, because to feel powerless is horrible. It's exhausting. And actually what I'm hearing in that objection is someone who's banging their head against a brick wall and seeing no change, seeing no improvement, seeing nothing different. So notice and use the skills of self-compassion to support and self-soothe, because when you're trying to tackle difficulty from a place of exhaustion and exasperation and frustration, it shows in your leadership style. It comes through in your communication, and your communication will not be effective. So the starting point for compassionate leadership is to get that bit sorted first, to notice and to begin to proactively support yourself. The second step that I want to mention today is around drama triangles. So notice the word powerless. Notice, the exasperation that nothing changes. This is a drama triangle where you are feeling in the victim corner, where stuff is being done to you, and someone else is the perpetrator, whether it's the system, the government, the NHS, your trust, your hospital trust. That dynamic actually reduces your power. So when you're hearing that language coming from yourself, notice that you're in a drama triangle, and it's time to shift your state, because if you continue in that dynamic, you will get nowhere. You will be exhausted. You will get burnt out. So drama triangles, I haven't got time we can do another whole video on drama triangles, but moving from reactive victim state to creative, what change do I want to see? What's a reasonable place to start? What could I do? Is part of that shift. Keeping people as the perpetrator and you as the victim, you won't change anything, and that's just a fact. So notice the drama triangle. If you haven't heard of drama triangles, go and look it up. There's a wonderful book called The Power of TED, TED, which is not about TED Talks, it's about drama triangles. So think about equipping yourself with that information around drama triangles and understanding the dynamic that's developed there. And then the third thing I want to mention today is influence. Have you been trained? Have you ever thought about or learned about influence? How to actually influence an outcome? Because actually bleating on about something and criticizing and pushing often doesn't produce the results that you need. So I'm just going to give you a couple of pointers around influence today. So the first one is, are you trying to do this all on your own? Is this something that you've taken on as your role to tackle and challenge? But is that realistic? Who are you surrounding yourself by? And when you look at those people that you're connecting with and you're actually building a team around you, what's the energy of that team? Is everybody being negative? In which case nothing will change. Who can you connect with that will help you on your mission towards influence? So when I think about someone like Nelson Mandela, he was incarcerated. He was literally powerless in a tiny cell. And yet he was not powerless because he chose not to be. He thought about his influence, how he could influence the outcomes on the outside, even whilst he was incarcerated. So influence is a skill. It's not something that you naturally will already know how to do. And if you're really frustrated in the system that you're working in at the moment, maybe it's time to start thinking about influence. So yes, number one is who's supporting you? Are you trying to do this all alone, or are you surrounded by negativity? And do you need to change that state? The second is, who are the people that you're seeking to influence? And do you understand their position? It's really easy to make this us and them. What if you were to walk in their shoes? Would you understand better about this situation? And how can you demonstrate that you recognize their position whilst you're trying to influence? So this might be about lack of resources. It might be about political constraints. There may be some realities that you have to accept and understand, but still seek to influence. Still seek to make changes. You don't have to give up just because you understand their position, but make sure that you have that empathy, that compassion for the other person's perspective. And then the third thing is role modeling, thinking about who do you need to be in order to influence. If you're, if you're going to demonstrate the high standards that you're expecting from other people, are you demonstrating them yourself? What behaviors are you bringing to the table? And are they working, or are they repelling the people that you're seeking to influence? So think about yourself as a pebble creating a ripple effect. And this again comes back to compassionate leadership. When we start with ourselves and we really strengthen that compassion for ourselves on the inside, it begins to have a ripple effect to the people around you. So think about who you need to be if you're seeking to influence. Now, you might hear these three pointers and think, I'm too tired, in which case stay at part one, the self-compassion. Start to look after yourself because this situation is difficult. But if me talking about powerlessness and influence inspires you to think about, how you could start to cultivate some influence, then let me know what your thoughts are. Let me know where you're getting stuck, because this is a really important subject at the moment. There's so many people feeling like, there's nothing I can do. Actually, that mindset is leaving us trapped. Let me know your thoughts. Bye for now.